Ever wonder why you keep picking the wrong partners or feel stuck in life? In this Huberman Lab podcast, Dr. Andrew Huberman and psychotherapist Lori Gottlieb reveal the science behind your emotions and game-changing tools to transform your relationships and unlock a vibrant, regret-free life. Don't miss the secrets to living with purpose. The Huberman Lab podcast, hosted by Dr. Andrew Huberman, a professor of neurobiology and ophthalmology at Stanford School of Medicine, is renowned for translating scientific insights into practical tools for everyday life. In this episode, Huberman engages with Lori Gottlieb, a psychotherapist, best-selling author of Maybe You Should Talk to Someone, and New York Times advice columnist, to explore the science and practice of relationships. Their conversation delves into emotional regulation, the impact of technology on communication, unconscious patterns in partner selection, the stages of change, navigating grief, and the pursuit of vitality as a counter to depression. This 5,000-word summary and analysis synthesizes the episode's key themes, provides actionable tools, and expands on the discussion to offer a comprehensive understanding of how to foster meaningful connections and live with intention. 1. Emotional awareness as a relational compass. At the heart of Gottlieb's philosophy is the idea that emotions serve as a compass for navigating relationships, offering critical insights into compatibility across romantic, platonic, and professional contexts. She argues that how we feel in someone's presence, calm, energized, or drained, reveals whether they are well suited for us. However, societal conditioning often disconnects people from their emotions, particularly when childhood feelings like sadness or anger are dismissed with phrases like "you're fine" or "don't be sensitive." This suppression leads to reliance on external narratives, causing individuals to override their internal signals with rationalizations, such as staying in a relationship because it looks good on paper. Why emotions matter. Gottlieb emphasizes that emotions are not mere reactions but data points that inform decision making. Feeling safe and content with someone suggests alignment with your values, while persistent discomfort may indicate a mismatch. Huberman shares a personal anecdote about a no-shift policy with an ex-girlfriend, where neither partner attempted to change the other's emotional state unless explicitly requested. This approach fostered mutual respect and emotional autonomy, illustrating how honoring one's feelings strengthens relationships. Cultural influences on emotional expression. The discussion explores gender differences in emotional socialization. Gottlieb notes that boys are often taught to suppress vulnerability, e.g., brush it off, after a fall, leading to emotional numbness in adulthood. Girls, conversely, are encouraged to verbalize feelings, sometimes overwhelming partners with unfiltered emotions. To balance this, Gottlieb advocates for mentalizing, considering how your words will affect the other person before sharing emotions. This ensures communication is kind, true, and useful, preventing emotional dumping while fostering connection. Practical tool: tuning into your emotional compass to harness emotions as a guide. Gottlieb suggests reflecting on how you feel after interactions. Ask, do I feel calm, energized, or depleted? Journaling these observations over time can reveal patterns, helping you prioritize relationships that enhance well-being. For example, if a friend consistently leaves you drained, it may be time to set boundaries or reevaluate the connection. Huberman reinforces this by sharing his practice of sitting quietly for 5 minutes to process challenges, which fosters clarity and emotional grounding. Expanded insight. Emotional awareness extends beyond relationships to self-understanding, enabling intentional choices aligned with personal values. For instance, feeling anxious before a social event might prompt you to prepare coping strategies rather than avoid it. This practice builds emotional resilience, equipping individuals to navigate life's complexities with clarity and confidence. By treating emotions as allies rather than obstacles, you can cultivate a deeper connection to yourself and others, fostering authenticity in all interactions. 2. Unconscious patterns in partner selection. Gottlieb introduces the concept of marrying our unfinished business, explaining why people are drawn to partners who replicate childhood dynamics. This unconscious drive to resolve past wounds often leads to repeating painful patterns, as familiarity feels safe, even when unhealthy. The familiarity trap. Humans gravitate toward the familiar because the unknown is threatening. Gottlieb uses the metaphor of a prisoner shaking the bars of a cell, unaware that the sides are open, to illustrate how people remain in unfulfilling situations, relationships, jobs, or habits, due to fear of change. For example, someone raised by an emotionally unavailable parent may choose a similarly distant partner, mistaking familiarity for love. Case study: Rewiring Attraction. Gottlieb shares a client's story of repeatedly choosing unreliable partners who mirrored her parents' traits, driven by intense chemistry. Through therapy, she recognized this pattern as rooted in unresolved childhood issues and learned to value stable, reliable partners. This shift demonstrates that attraction can evolve with self-awareness. Huberman observes that some couples balance an emotive partner with a less expressive one, which can appear stable but may mask unmet needs if communication falters. Practical tool: uncovering unfinished business. To break these patterns, Gottlieb recommends reflecting on childhood experiences and identifying recurring themes in relationships. Ask, what feels familiar about this dynamic? Does it echo a past experience? Journaling or therapy can uncover unconscious drivers, enabling healthier partner choices. For instance, recognizing a pattern of seeking approval from distant partners can prompt you to prioritize those who offer consistent support. Expanded insight. Unconscious patterns influence not only romantic relationships, but also friendships and professional dynamics. By examining these patterns, individuals can cultivate relationships that foster growth rather than reinforce old wounds. This process requires courage to face discomfort, but offers the reward of authentic connections aligned with one's evolving self. Over time, breaking these cycles can lead to a redefined sense of chemistry, where attraction is rooted in mutual respect and shared values rather than unresolved trauma. 3. Self-regulation and co-regulation in relationships. The episode explores the balance between self-regulation, managing one's emotions, and co-regulation, supporting each other's emotional states, both essential for healthy relationships. Over-reliance on either can lead to dysfunction, such as projection or codependency. Self-regulation. Gottlieb stresses that individuals must take responsibility for their emotions rather than projecting them onto others. For example, yelling at a partner after a stressful workday is projection, not communication. Self-regulation involves acknowledging the emotion, e.g., "I'm frustrated about work," and choosing a constructive response, such as deep breathing, journaling, or taking a walk. Co-regulation. While self-regulation is key, co-regulation, where one partner's calm presence helps the other regulate, can be supportive. For instance, a parent's calm response to a child's tantrum models self-regulation. In adult relationships, one partner's stability can de-escalate conflict, but both must self-regulate to avoid codependency, where one partner becomes responsible for the other's emotional state. Practical tool: pause and reflect when emotions escalate. Gottlieb advises pausing before reacting. Take deep breaths, count to 5, or step away briefly to calm your nervous system. This creates space for thoughtful responses rather than impulsive reactions. Huberman shares his practice of sitting quietly for 5 minutes to process challenges, which fosters clarity and growth, reinforcing the value of this pause. Expanded insight. Self-regulation and co-regulation are foundational for emotional intelligence, impacting all areas of life. In high-stress environments, such as workplaces, self-regulation prevents reactive outbursts, while co-regulation builds collaborative teams. Practicing these skills enhances resilience, enabling individuals to navigate conflicts with composure and empathy. Over time, this balance fosters relationships where both partners feel seen and supported without sacrificing autonomy. 4. Technology's impact on communication. Gottlieb and Huberman discuss how technology, particularly texting and social media, has transformed communication, often undermining relationships. Digital interactions lack the depth of face-to-face conversations, leading to misunderstandings and conflict. Texting pitfalls. Gottlieb recounts a client who conducted an important conversation via text, using emojis to convey emotion. Texting misses tone, facial expressions, and body language, escalating conflicts as people react to words without context. Huberman agrees, noting his refusal to argue over text, preferring in-person or phone discussions to preserve connection and clarity. The illusion of efficiency. Texting seems efficient, but often creates more work by necessitating repairs for misunderstandings. Gottlieb emphasizes that significant conversations require richer mediums to convey intent accurately, as digital communication strips away the nuances that foster understanding. Practical tool: prioritize face-to-face communication for meaningful discussions. Opt for in-person or video interactions whenever possible. If texting is necessary, use clear, intentional language and avoid assumptions about tone. If a text exchange becomes heated, suggest continuing in person to prevent escalation and maintain connection. Expanded insight. Technology's impact extends beyond relationships to mental health. Constant digital exposure can fragment attention, reducing presence in interactions and increasing stress. By setting boundaries, such as limiting phone use during conversations or designating tech-free hours, individuals can foster deeper connections and reclaim mindfulness. This intentional approach counters the superficiality of digital communication, prioritizing quality over quantity in relationships. 5. The stages of change and overcoming resistance. Gottlieb outlines the stages of change: contemplation, preparation, action, and maintenance, as a framework for understanding why change is difficult and how to sustain it. Resistance often stems from taking steps that are too large or lacking self-compassion during setbacks. Small steps for lasting change. Gottlieb advocates for incremental changes to build confidence and familiarity with new habits. For example, instead of vowing never to eat unhealthy foods, start by keeping fewer tempting items at home. These small steps make change feel manageable and sustainable. Self-compassion and accountability. Setbacks are inevitable in the maintenance stage, and self-compassion is crucial for resilience, rather than self-criticism for a slip-up. E.g., emotional eating. Reflect on triggers and plan alternative responses. Huberman likens this to treating yourself like a supportive parent would a child who failed a test, offering empathy while encouraging growth. Practical tool: map your change process, identify a behavior to change, and map it onto the stages of change. For example, in pre-contemplation about improving communication, acknowledge the issue. In contemplation, research strategies like active listening. Prepare by practicing one technique, take action by applying it in conversations, and maintain it by reflecting on progress and adjusting as needed. Expanded insight. The stages of change apply to diverse goals, from fitness to career transitions. By breaking goals into manageable steps and embracing setbacks as learning opportunities, individuals can build resilience and achieve lasting transformation. This approach counters perfectionism, fostering a growth-oriented mindset that values progress over flawlessness. Over time, small changes compound, leading to profound shifts in behavior and perspective. 6. Vitality as the antidote to depression. One of the episode's most profound insights is Gottlieb's assertion that vitality, not happiness, is the opposite of depression. Vitality, a sense of aliveness driven by intentional living, counteracts the stagnation of depression, often spurred by awareness of mortality. Death awareness as a catalyst. Gottlieb argues that acknowledging mortality fosters vitality by motivating courageous choices. She shares a client's story of confronting terminal cancer, which prompted her and her husband to live more fully in the present, embracing each moment with intention. Huberman echoes this, describing his yoga nidra practice, where he reflects on dying during a long exhale, grounding him in the present and inspiring intentional living. Overcoming cherophobia. Gottlieb introduces cherophobia, the fear of joy, where people sabotage positive experiences due to anticipated disappointment, often rooted in unpredictable childhoods. Recognizing and challenging this fear opens the door to vitality, allowing individuals to embrace moments of joy without bracing for loss. Practical tool: embrace death awareness. Reflect daily on your mortality to inspire action. Ask, if today were my last day, would I be content with my choices? Use the answer to guide small, intentional steps, such as pursuing a passion, reconnecting with a loved one, or leaving a toxic situation. This practice fosters urgency without fear, aligning actions with values. Expanded insight. Vitality is a universal antidote to existential despair, applicable across cultures and life stages. By aligning actions with values, individuals can cultivate a sense of purpose that transcends fleeting happiness, fostering resilience against life's challenges. This perspective reframes depression not as a permanent state, but as a signal to reconnect with what makes life meaningful, whether through relationships, creativity, or personal growth. 7. The fear of not having lived. Gottlieb reframes the fear of death as a fear of not having lived fully, drawing on Erik Erikson's concept of integrity versus despair. Those who live aligned with their values face death with peace, while those with regrets experience despair. Avoiding regret. Many stay in unfulfilling situations, denying mortality's inevitability, assuming they have unlimited time. Gottlieb encourages acting now to avoid regrets, whether leaving a toxic relationship, changing careers, or pursuing a dream. Huberman notes that friends who escaped bad situations always wished they'd done so sooner, underscoring the urgency of living authentically. Practical tool: live with integrity. Reflect on your core values, e.g., connection, authenticity, growth, and assess whether your choices align with them. Make one small adjustment, such as setting a boundary in a relationship or dedicating time to a meaningful project, to move toward integrity. Regular reflection ensures ongoing alignment as values evolve. Expanded insight. Living with integrity requires ongoing self-reflection to ensure alignment with evolving values. This practice not only reduces regret, but also enhances self-respect as individuals take ownership of their life's narrative, crafting a story of purpose and fulfillment. By prioritizing integrity, you create a legacy of meaningful choices, regardless of external validation or societal expectations. 8. Navigating breakups and grief. The conversation addresses the pain of breakups and grief, emphasizing the need to move forward, not move on. Gottlieb critiques the societal hierarchy of pain, where breakups are often minimized compared to divorce or death, despite their profound impact. The pain of breakups involve losing not just a person, but a shared world, daily routines, inside jokes, and future plans. Gottlieb shares her own breakup story from Maybe You Should Talk to Someone, where her therapist challenged her narrative of blaming her ex, helping her recognize her role and grow. This shift in perspective fostered resilience and self-awareness. Grief as a lifelong process. Grief varies widely, even among siblings losing the same parent. Gottlieb advises honoring one's process, whether feeling emotions fully or compartmentalizing temporarily. She cautions against forcing closure, as grief may resurface unexpectedly, triggered by a song or memory. Moving forward involves integrating loss into your narrative, not erasing it. Practical tool: move forward with grief. Reflect on what a loss represents, e.g., loss of youth, security, and journal about how to integrate it into your life. Take small steps to move forward, such as reconnecting with hobbies, seeking support from friends, or exploring new experiences, while allowing space for grief's ebb and flow. Expanded insight, grief's complexity underscores the human capacity for resilience. By reframing loss as part of one's narrative, individuals can find meaning in pain, using it to fuel growth and deeper connections. This approach transforms grief from a burden into a catalyst for vitality, enabling individuals to honor the past while embracing the present. Over time, this integration fosters a sense of wholeness where loss and growth coexist. 9. The role of therapy and self-reflection. Gottlieb's workbook, a companion to Maybe You Should Talk to Someone, is highlighted as a tool for rewriting faulty narratives. She views therapy as an editing process, helping clients challenge stories like "I'm unlovable" by finding counterexamples and building new narratives. The workbook's purpose, designed for those without access to therapy, the workbook offers step-by-step exercises to identify and rewrite narratives. It includes prompts to explore where stories originate, test new behaviors, and reflect on progress, making change manageable and accessible. Practical tool: rewrite your narrative, identify a limiting story, e.g., "I always fail," and list counter-examples, e.g., past successes. Practice one new behavior weekly, such as taking a small risk, and journal about the outcome to build a new narrative of capability. This process fosters agency and self-compassion. Expanded insight, self-reflection, whether through therapy, workbooks, or journaling, is a powerful tool for agency. By questioning inherited narratives, individuals can reclaim authorship of their lives, aligning actions with authentic desires and fostering self-respect. This practice empowers individuals to break free from limiting beliefs, creating space for growth and possibility. Over time, rewriting narratives can transform not only self-perception, but also relationships and life choices. 10. Contemporary challenges in relationships. The episode addresses modern relationship challenges, particularly for younger generations navigating technology and shifting gender dynamics. Technology and dating apps. Gottlieb cites Barry Schwartz's The Paradox of Choice, noting that dating apps create an illusion of endless options, turning users into maximizers who seek perfection but are less satisfied. She suggests focusing on how a person makes you feel rather than a checklist of traits, prioritizing emotional connection over superficial criteria. Gender dynamics. Gottlieb discusses the confusion young men face in navigating masculinity amidst messages that maleness is inherently flawed. She recounts a preschool shirt saying, "Boys are stupid, let's throw rocks at them," highlighting how such messages sow confusion. Women also face uncertainty in expressing interest without violating workplace norms, complicating modern courtship. Practical tool: simplify dating choices, limit dating app use to avoid overwhelm, and focus on character qualities, e.g., honesty, reliability over superficial traits. When unsure about actions, e.g., initiating a kiss, communicate openly to ensure mutual comfort, fostering transparency and respect. Expanded insight. Modern challenges reflect a broader cultural shift toward redefining relationships. By prioritizing emotional connection and mutual respect, individuals can navigate these complexities, fostering relationships that balance vulnerability and autonomy. This approach counters the transactional nature of modern dating, emphasizing depth and authenticity. Over time, intentional choices in dating can lead to partnerships grounded in shared values and mutual growth. 11. The interplay of science and practice. Huberman's scientific perspective complements Gottlieb's therapeutic insights, creating a unique synergy. Huberman grounds the discussion in neuroscience, explaining how emotional regulation engages the prefrontal cortex to modulate amygdala-driven reactions. Gottlieb translates this into practical strategies, such as pausing to regulate emotions, making the science accessible and actionable. Bridging the gap, the interplay of science and practice underscores the podcast's mission to provide tools for everyday life. For example, Huberman's explanation of the autonomic nervous system's role in stress responses pairs with Gottlieb's advice to breathe deeply during conflict, offering a holistic approach to emotional regulation. Practical tool: combine science and practice when feeling overwhelmed. Combine a scientific understanding e.g., stress activates the sympathetic nervous system with a practical action e.g., slow breathing to activate the parasympathetic system. This dual approach enhances self-awareness and effectiveness, grounding emotional work in biology. Expanded insight: the integration of science and practice empowers individuals to take control of their emotional and relational lives. By understanding the biological underpinnings of behavior, you can approach challenges with curiosity rather than judgment, fostering resilience and adaptability. This synergy reflects the broader potential of interdisciplinary approaches, where diverse perspectives converge to solve complex human problems. 12. Building resilience through intentional living. The episode's overarching message is that intentional living, guided by emotional awareness, self-reflection, and vitality, builds resilience against life's challenges. Whether navigating relationships, grief, or personal growth, aligning actions with values fosters a sense of purpose and agency. The role of intentional living involves making deliberate choices, from how you communicate to whom you invest in relationally. Gottlieb's emphasis on vitality and Huberman's focus on daily practices like yoga nidra highlight the power of small, intentional actions to create lasting change. Practical tool: create a daily intention each morning. Set a simple intention for the day, such as "I will pause before reacting," or "I will prioritize one meaningful connection." Reflect on this intention at day's end, noting successes and areas for growth. This practice builds mindfulness and accountability, reinforcing intentional living. Expanded insight: resilience is not about avoiding challenges, but about navigating them with purpose and adaptability. By cultivating intentional habits, individuals can weather setbacks, from relational conflicts to existential doubts, with grace and determination. This approach transforms life's uncertainties into opportunities for growth, fostering a sense of empowerment and fulfillment.